Hi, it's Friday the 10th of October 2025 and welcome to this week's My Thoughts vlog. This week's a bit different. It is a Q&A special, which is interesting. I like doing it with something a bit different. I have some questions that have been sent in, so I will go through them in order that they came in and, I'll answer them. So I'll just be looking down here because I'm reading off my phone. So here goes. Okay, first question comes from Shelley. So, morning, Shelley. Hope you're alright. Why did you get your genome done in the US and not the UK? Okay, bit of background. Sasha and I had our full genome done so that we could look at what was going on with our DNA. It was interesting and it revealed quite a lot. For example, the fact that both Sasha and I are very high risk of breast cancer due to radiation exposure. Now, you could argue I've had a lot of x-rays in my life, which is certainly true. But Sasha, at the time of the test, had had 0 x-rays. So the fact that he has got a condition or a DNA mutation, which is down to radiation exposure, is very interesting. Anyway, the question was, why did I get it done in the US and not the UK? Well, in our community, you can be a bit paranoid about UK government involvement in, or interference, I should say, in things like medical records, medical notes, etc. I certainly am, and I believe my records, my medical records, are flagged. I think my dad's were. I also believe that my GP has been instructed not to engage with me in any discussion of nuclear stuff, because if I send them an email asking them about anything else, they will answer it. If I put the words nuclear in it, I get 0 response. Interesting. I also think a consultant that we went to see about Sasha's teeth, I think they were told on no account to blame radiation, because they came back and said his teeth were crumbling because he was breastfed. Now, if that were true, wouldn't there be millions of kids with crumbling teeth? And every other dentist I've spoken to, medical practitioner and human being I've spoken to and told this has said absolute rubbish, including things like, the health visitor, etc., nurses, etc. So, yeah, the dental consultant was the only one that said, because he was breastfed. What a load of rubbish. So, I believe that the UK government, specifically the Ministry of Defence, are overly interested in our medical records. Therefore, I did not want, on any count, my DNA to be studied by the MOD, because I just thought the results I would get back would be, oh, your DNA is fine, nothing wrong with it, nothing at all. So therefore, when the opportunity arose for me to get it done in the United States, I took that chance, and hey presto, it showed a lot of stuff, awful lot of stuff. So yeah, that's the reason why, Shelley. I just did not want to run the risk of any UK government interference in the results. Okay. Second question. It's a few questions. They come from Miko, who is a PhD student at Bristol University. Great lady. I met her a couple of times now. And yeah, interesting questions. Let me go through them. Okay. In the latest video and the BBC News, you talk about the coming baby and your worries and the possible side effects on the baby. However, in the previous video, you said you didn't wish your father hadn't gone to Maralinga because you were satisfied with your life. Then, even though you are happy with who you are, why do you worry about the possible effects, or why do you campaign? Okay, yeah, that's true. It might sound strange to people for me to say that I don't wish Dad hadn't have gone to Maralinga, and the fact that I worry about Sasha's health and my upcoming baby's health. The two don't seem to compute with some people, which I fully understand. The reason I would say that I don't wish Dad had gone to Maralinga was because Miko's right. I am happy with my life. I've met Georgina. I've got Sasha. I've had a decent life. I can't really complain. Um, so in that respect, I wouldn't want anything to change like that. Okay, yeah, I've had some struggles, but other people do. I think, and also Dad wasn't ill due to the radiation, like some of the veterans. I think had Dad been severely ill and maybe passed early, I might have changed my mind about him going to Maralinga. Had as Sasha or the newborn baby, and if the newborn baby is severely affected and suffer, the answer to that question may change again, and I may well wish that Dad hadn't gone. But at the moment, while yes, Sasha's got his teeth problem, but that is kind of sorted for now, and and the new baby seems healthy enough. All the scans are good, all the signs are positive. So at the moment, the answer's still, yeah, he went to Maralinga, and I'm okay with that. I don't wish he hadn't, but like I say, that could change. That could change. Miko's second and third question, I'm going to think of in terms of a wider context, because it reminds me of my Hillsborough Law journey. And question 2 was, what is justice for you? Question 3 was, what is injustice for you? Justice, I suppose, for me, is when ordinary people have equal access to the law and get the right outcome, and that the outcome bit is particularly important, because it's one thing having equal access, but if you're not getting the correct output, then that's wrong. And it is when it doesn't matter how powerful you are, whether you are the state, whether you are a rich multi-million-pound, billion-pound company, or you're just the ordinary person on the street, that your chances in the eyes of the law are equal. Your money and your power has no influence on the outcome. That is justice. That is when the right thing is done, the fair thing is done. Injustice is when the reverse is true, and certainly that's something that we've seen a lot of in the UK, and we're still seeing. Hillsborough Law would not have taken 36 years to come to fruition, or to get as far as it has, if and this is just me saying, it may not be true, if perhaps all of the those affected had have been billionaires, millionaires, you know, important people, cabinet ministers, etc. I'm pretty sure there would have been a few changes a lot quicker. But because it was just, ordinary citizens of a northern city, and I think the north might have had an effect, then it was not deemed as important, and that is injustice. So yeah, injustice is when power and money dictate outcomes from the legal system more so than fairness and morality. I think that's the answer to that one. Okay. Oh, my phone is locked. Give me a second. Right. So yeah, great questions from Miko. Look forward to speaking to Miko again soon, hopefully. The last question, very important one. This comes from Steve, friend of mine. I had a few laughs with at the ATR, and it's probably one of life's great questions, really. Especially if, like me, you're a professional actor. Would you like to play the part of Doctor Who? And who would be your assistants? Yeah, powerful question. Answer to the first part is easy. Hell yes. That is, I think, in my eyes, the number one role you could ever get. That's, it's the British Star Wars, really, isn't it? And it's better. So yeah, playing Doctor Who would be the absolute career highlight, and I'm sure it is for many actors. Um, who would be my assistants? I put a lot of thought into this. I've come up with two. First one would be Ramesh Ranganathan, because you're in space for ages, and it'd be nice to have someone to have a laugh with to make you giggle. And yeah, I just think he seems like an all-round decent chap. But yeah, he could entertain me. Yeah, that'd be funny. The second one would be Professor Brian Cox, the astrophysicist, not the actor, although he would be quite good as well. And the reason for Professor Brian Cox is that you might want a day off being Doctor Who. Yeah, you might want a day off, so Brian Cox could help fill in for you, I suppose. And also, we could fact check what you're saying. Although you're the Doctor, so you're probably right. But yeah, that would be good. That was if I actually was the Doctor, as in he was a real character. But if it was just for the role, as in I'm still an actor, just playing the role, Romesh I think would still be a good one, and yeah, perhaps the other Brian Cox, the actor, he would be a good co-star, wouldn't he? Because he's very experienced, and I could probably learn a lot from him. And sort of when you're backstage, I'm sure he's got an awful lot of interesting tales to tell about the world of acting. And yeah, he seems like an all-round decent person as well. So yeah, and they are the answers to my questions. So thank you very much for the questions. Please send more. I like doing that. And next week I will be back to doing my usual vlog. But until then, take care, and I'll see you next week. Bye.